At the family get-together, Mom announced that Angela would be moving in with me. I didn't say anything. When they showed up later with her boxes, a stranger answered the door to what used to be my apartment. I'm Kellen, and I'm 28 now. If you asked my parents, they'd probably say I was the difficult kid, not because I misbehaved, but because I was the opposite. I worked hard, paid my own way, and kept my life organized. But to them, that just meant I was the one who should step in when others, mostly Angela, messed up. Angela is my older sister. She's 31, but you wouldn't know it. She never kept a job for more than a few weeks, always had a reason for not paying rent, and somehow made our parents believe none of it was her fault. She always made herself look like the victim. Her boss was unfair, her roommates were mean, and jobs were just impossible to keep. She bounced between our parents' house and any friend who would let her crash on their couch. I learned early on that to have peace, I had to keep my distance. Still, my parents kept dragging me back into her messes, guilting me about family or how lucky I was to have a steady job. That's why I set boundaries and made it clear I wasn't her safety net. But as I'd find out, my parents never really respected those boundaries. They were just waiting for the right time to ignore them completely. It all came to a head at a family dinner. I should have known something was off right away. Mom was extra sweet, Dad was quiet, and Angela barely looked at me. I could feel something was coming, but I didn't know what. Dinner started normal, with small talk and a few of Mom's usual jabs about how I rarely visit. I just nodded and focused on my food. Then, just when I thought I might get through the evening without drama, Mom put down her fork, folded her hands, and hit me with it. So, Kellen, she said sweetly, the way she always did before saying something I wouldn't like, your sister's going to stay with you for a while. I almost choked. Everyone looked at me, waiting for me to agree, but I stayed quiet. Not yet. I waited for the rest of the story, because there's always more. She's having a hard time, Mom said, and you have all that space to yourself. It just makes sense. You can help her, and she won't be a burden on us. In other words, they didn't want to deal with her anymore. That was now my job. Dad added, it's not like you're struggling, and she just needs a stable place for a bit. Then Angela joined in. Just a couple of months, she said, sounding way too rehearsed. I'll help out around your place. We all knew that was a lie. Angela didn't help out. She didn't even clean up after herself. Still, I didn't react. I just nodded slowly, pretending to think about it. Truth is, I was letting them commit to the idea, letting them think I was going along with it. I stayed silent long enough to make them uncomfortable. They looked at me, expecting me to argue, but I didn't. Instead, I calmly put down my fork and said, fine. They were surprised. Mom blinked, Dad looked relieved, and Angela smiled like she'd just won something. Really? Mom asked, suspicious. I shrugged. Sure, if it helps Angela, why not? That was all they needed. Mom went on and on about how proud she was of me. Dad agreed. Angela sat back, clearly pleased with herself. I could tell she thought she'd fooled me, that I'd given in like always. She was probably already planning how to make my place hers. Why wouldn't she? She'd done this stuff all her life. She'd take my things and act surprised when I got mad. She borrowed my laptop in college and never gave it back. When she couldn't pay rent once, our parents made me help her. Just that one time, of course, but it never was just once. Angela always made herself the victim, and made me look bad for saying no. But this time? This time was different. So when's she moving in? I asked, casually taking another bite. Mom smiled. This weekend, so she has time to get settled before looking for work again. This weekend? Great. Angela stretched and looked proud. Yeah, I only have a few boxes. Shouldn't take long. I nodded like I was fine with it. Just tell me when, I'll be there. And that was the only true part. I would be there, but not at the apartment. I'd be somewhere else, far away, watching it all happen. Because I didn't live there anymore. I had moved out weeks ago. I had sold the place. Someone else lived there now, and they had no idea what was about to happen. And I wasn't going to stop it, not yet. I'd let my family walk right into the mess they created. The week dragged on. I kept thinking about what was coming, and it made me smile, but I stayed cool around my parents, didn't give anything away. I let them think everything was going just as they planned. Saturday came. I spent the day out, doing errands I'd been putting off. Around noon, my phone rang. Unknown number. I ignored it. Then it rang again. This time, I picked up. Hi, I said, sounding normal. Kellen? Mom's voice was tense. What's going on? I could hear Dad in the background, sounding frustrated. They weren't angry, just confused, like they didn't understand what was happening. What do you mean? I asked. We got to the apartment, she said, but it's not yours anymore. The landlord says it was sold weeks ago. Someone else lives here now. I couldn't help but grin. Oh, really? That's strange. I didn't know, I said, pretending to be confused. Maybe I should have mentioned it earlier. My dad's voice came sharp and annoyed. What's going on, Kellen? Why didn't you warn us? You said Angela could stay there, and now we're stuck with all her stuff. I almost burst out laughing. I could hear Angela behind him, freaking out, trying to figure out what was happening. It was honestly pretty fun to hear. I don't know what to say, I replied calmly. I thought you guys knew I moved out weeks ago. I sold the place, didn't think it mattered anymore. There was a short silence. What do you mean, you sold it? My mom asked, clearly shocked. You got rid of your apartment and didn't even tell us? Yeah, I said slowly. It was a fast decision, didn't want to make a big deal out of it, just needed a fresh start. My dad got louder. So what now, Kellen? We already brought Angela's things. You should have said something. We deserved a heads up. I leaned back in my chair, trying not to smile too much. I was enjoying this more than I should have. Well, I figured you knew, I said, dragging it out. You know I keep to myself. Maybe I should have called, but no one asked, so I didn't say anything. They were clearly frustrated. I could hear it in their voices. But you said you liked living there, my mom said, hurt. I did, I answered, sounding relaxed, but things change. A good offer came up, and I took it. Another silence. I could hear Angela mumbling in the background. Then my dad spoke again, now angrier. Why didn't you tell us? Now we're stuck, and Angela's plans are ruined. I cut him off. Look, Dad, I'm not a kid anymore. I make my own choices. I don't need to tell everyone every time I do something. My mom jumped in. So what do we do now? Take Angela's stuff back home? I paused before answering. Well, that's up to you. I'm sure she'll find a couch somewhere. Silence again. The tension was heavy. This isn't right, Kellen, my mom said softly. You're just leaving us to deal with it? I sighed, relaxing even more. Sorry, maybe I should have told you, but life happens. You can't expect me to fix everything. Then Angela shouted, angry and scared. What's going on, Kellen? I smirked. Maybe you should have had a backup plan instead of depending on me. She kept mumbling, and I just smiled more. I wasn't done yet. I had them right where I wanted. Anyway, good luck, I said lightly, and ended the call. I didn't know it yet, but this was only the beginning. I spent the rest of the day feeling both excited and satisfied. I knew my parents wouldn't give up easily. Right now, they were just confused, but soon, they'd realize they were in real trouble. And Angela? She'd play the helpless victim again, like always, but I wasn't going to let them off the hook this time. As the sun set, I got home, locked the door, and relaxed on my couch. I felt calm, with no regrets. This was payback for all the times they used me, pushed me aside, and only came to me when their own plans failed. About an hour later, there was a knock at the door. I jumped up, heart racing. I peeked through the peephole, and there they were. My parents, Angela, and all her stuff. Their car was out front, trunk open, packed with boxes like a scene from some bad sitcom. I just stood there for a second, stunned but amused. They actually tracked me down. The funny part? They didn't know this was my real home. They thought I moved here recently. They were in for a surprise. I slowly opened the door, calm and in control. Kellen, my mom said first, nervous. We tried calling. We figured out where you're staying. I raised an eyebrow. Oh yeah? How'd you manage that? Forget that. My dad snapped. We need to talk. You said Angela could stay here, and now she's got her stuff. We have nowhere else to go. I leaned on the doorframe and crossed my arms. Yeah, but here's the thing, I never said she could move here. His eyes went wide, and I saw him starting to lose it. Come on, Kellen, don't do this. We came all this way, and now you're turning your back on your sister? What kind of brother are you? Angela glared at me. I could tell she was just starting to realize what was really going on. This is crazy, Kellen. You told me I could move in, and now you're acting like you don't know me? Oh, so I'm just a hotel now? I asked, smirking. That's when they realized they messed up. The truth hit them like a truck. I still lived here, and they had shown up with all her stuff, thinking they'd just move her in. Angela's face turned red. Seriously, Kellen, after everything? I didn't answer at first. I just watched them go from confused, to angry, to embarrassed. This is my place, I said finally. I never sold it, never gave it up, and I'm not letting anyone crash here anymore. They struggled to believe it. My mom looked like she wanted to fight back but didn't. It was clear they couldn't handle the fact that I was finally standing my ground. You tricked us, my dad growled. You planned all this? I shrugged. Nope, you just didn't ask the right questions. Angela stepped forward, hands on her hips. You're not even a real brother. I'm family, and you're throwing me out? I looked at her, expression blank. I'm not throwing you out, I'm just not letting you in. The air got tense. My dad paced. My mom looked like she was about to cry. Angela was fuming. Then she snapped. Fine, if you won't let me in, we'll make you. My heart skipped a beat as she stepped closer. For a second, I thought she might try to push her way inside. That's when I decided I was done playing nice. I took a deep breath, stood tall, and pulled out my phone. I didn't say anything, I just pulled out my phone and dialed the police. Hi, I said calmly, I need to report trespassers. My parents and Angela froze. Their faces went pale as they realized what I was doing. I kept my eyes on them while I talked. I've told my family to leave, I said to the dispatcher, but they're refusing. They're trying to force their way into my apartment, and I don't feel safe. I looked at Angela. She looked shocked and furious. My mom went silent. My dad looked like he didn't know what to do. This is going to backfire on you, Angela muttered angrily. I gave her a small smile. Maybe, we'll see. After I hung up, the weight of what I'd done hit me, but I knew it was the right call. They needed to face consequences. A siren echoed in the distance. My family stared at me like they expected me to back down, but I didn't move. I was done playing nice. They'd walked over me for years. This was me taking my life back. A police officer showed up, a tall woman with short brown hair and a serious look. She glanced at me, then at my family, who looked like they'd been caught red-handed. Evening, she said. What's going on here? They're trespassing, I told her. They came to my home thinking they could move in. I've asked them to leave several times, but they're still here. I'm worried they might force their way inside. The officer turned to my parents and Angela. Is that true? She asked. They didn't answer right away. Then Angela jumped in. He's lying, she snapped. He invited me. We were supposed to move in. I'm his sister. After everything I've done for him, he owes me. The officer didn't react. Ma'am, if he says this is his place and you're not welcome, that means you're trespassing. You can't just show up and expect to stay. My parents shifted awkwardly. My dad raised his hands. Look, we didn't mean any trouble, he said. We thought Kellen would be okay with it. We've helped him before. He owes us. The officer stayed calm. You may have expected something, but that doesn't give you the right to be here. You need to leave. The air felt heavy. I could see my parents getting angry, but they had no more excuses. The officer wasn't letting them play their usual games. She turned to Angela. You can leave peacefully, or we'll escort you out. Angela growled in frustration. She looked like she was about to argue, but the officer stepped closer and said, This is your final warning. If you don't leave, you'll be arrested for trespassing. Angela's face went stiff. Slowly, she backed off. She gave me a look like I had betrayed her. My parents followed, my mom looking both mad and embarrassed. The officer led them away. I stood in the doorway, watching. It didn't feel like victory, it felt like relief. She looked back at me before leaving. If anything else happens, call us again. Thanks, officer, I said. The door closed behind them, and just like that, peace returned. Later, I realized how much they'd been holding me back, not just today, but for years, always expecting me to drop everything for them, always using me when it suited them. I had never really had space of my own. Now I did. The next day, I looked around at the mess they'd left. I knew I'd probably hear more from them soon. And I did. My phone blew up with calls and voicemails, angry rants from my parents, nasty texts from Angela calling me selfish and heartless. I blocked them all. It's been a few weeks now. Life is finally calm. I can focus on my job, my friends, and just breathe. I'm not always waiting for the next guilt trip or demand. But now I'm thinking, was I too harsh? Did I go too far? I'm not looking for sympathy, just honest thoughts. Did I do the right thing, or should I have handled it differently?